Who's got one? Andrew?
Coach, some of the guys we just talked to a little while ago said that kind of going on what you said Monday about defensive energy and all that kind of stuff. They said that it lacked tonight, and it's a carryover from. They said it lacked, that they didn't feel like they had the right energy, that they had the right intensity defensively, and they felt that it carried over from Maui. What did you do the last couple of days to maybe change some of that, and why do you think that that is a problem that they're all acknowledging tonight?
That's a great question. We've clearly identified a number of things throughout the season, and specifically coming back from Maui, that for us as a team to have success, it's really tied to two things. It's our energy, effort, will, want to, preparation, play on the defensive end, and our ability to rebound the basketball. It just is what it is. That allows us to be efficient on the offensive end. And from a defensive standpoint, I didn't feel like Alabama felt us. I think they did the first 2.5, 3 minutes of the game. I felt like we had a defensive presence, a physical presence on the ball. Our communication was really good, and then from there it just dropped.
What is the level of frustration that it dropped and it dropped as much as it did?
Very frustrated. One of the things that I've consistently said is that this group has shown flashes of playing at the level that is required in order to be successful. But the next step forward is to start there and to be able to stay there. Full 40 minutes on both ends of the floor. And so that's something that we've got to get better at and address. And I'll be ready to do that at 2 o'clock on Saturday.
One thing we were, kind of asking about the other day, or one thing you were talking about the other day, was, kind of looking at everything to, start off well in the first half. One thing you mentioned was lineups, rotations, things like that. I know in that first half especially, kind of shuffle guys in and out of there a lot. I guess how much of that was intentional going into the game of, just trying the different lineups early, seeing what sticks, seeing what works, and seeing what kind of flows, if that makes sense.
Well, it is. I mean, as I said, the level of intensity, attention to detail that has to be there on every possession, and the rotations and the subs throughout the entire game was to try to have a fresh, energized group out there on the floor that could execute that. You can talk about X's and O's, but you can't even get there until you bring that sustained will, want to, energy, and effort. Technique has nothing to do with that when you can't get there. And one of the things that I said to the team before the game is I said that, and this is for every game, but specifically this game because we were playing tonight, was that you can't be quiet in a game like this. Your personality in your game cannot be quiet. It just can't. And what is required is to empty the tank in every area, whether it's defense or offense. And that's something that I was clear, definitive before the game, and that you just didn't play well enough tonight at all.
Hubert, I totally hear you on the effort and emptying the tank. Also, defensively, do you feel like there's just a level of confusion sometimes that is tripping you guys up? It seems like with some of the switches and shooters get left open, even in Maui and tonight, it seems like there's a confusion you guys are fighting. Do you think that's accurate?
I would say yes. I would say that is accurate. The way that I communicate, I don't speak in tongues or interpretations. I'm straightforward and direct, and but that is something that we've had to work on, not just in games but in practices, being able to consistently execute things that we've been told and taught and are talented enough to do.
With Drake getting his first start and Jalen playing just 12 minutes, how much of a work in progress is your rotation in the post specifically?
It's a work in process, yes.
RJ was talking after the game about his perseverance being tested, especially on the 3-ball not falling, teams defending him differently like that. But he said at the same time he was trying to be the leader you wanted to be, say the right things in the huddle, those kind of things that help the team. But How do you get him over that frustration? Because, you know, he's been so successful with the three in his career here, just, especially if they're gonna be different defenders, taller defenders.
Well, I've, my communication to RJ and for everyone is, I believe that everyone should be a leader within their own personality. I've never told RJ to lead the same way Armando or Cormac or Harrison or Pax did. My conversation with each player has been, you have to be a transformational leader within your own personality. So that's been my conversation with him. Yes, teams are loading up on him. Comes off ball screens, they're trapping him, they're putting physical big guys on him. It's hard for him to get loose off of screens. We've got to set better screens. We've got to find a way to get him more open looks, and but that's an opportunity for others to step up as well. And so it's not the University of RJ, even though I love to have coached them, it's the University of North Carolina, and so we all got to step up.
With the confusion which Adam asked about, how much of that is connected to the lack of communication on the defensive end?
I think it's some. I've never seen a team defensively, and I've never seen a good team that is quiet. That goes back to like your personality in your game has to be loud, and there's an emotion that just naturally comes out when you put on this uniform. When you run out of that tunnel and you play on that floor, it's impossible to be quiet. The experience of being a part of this team and this program and this university, it creates a loud voice on and off the floor, and that's something that we just got to improve on. That can't be fixed.
Couple more.
Hubert, Ian said that he didn't think the team was tough enough tonight. Does that go with the will and the want to that you preach about? And what do you think as far as you guys' toughness of this evening?
Well, I didn't think we played well enough to win tonight, and we didn't do the things consistently to put yourself in a position to win a game like this. And so, you know, when things don't work out your way, I mean, there's not a choice, but there are two choices. You can stay down, you can whine and complain, you can point fingers and make excuses, or you can get your tail back up and step forward and start swinging. So I told the guys to get your Timberland boots on, your overalls, your shoulder pads, and your helmet, and tomorrow you're gonna get dirty. And we're gonna go back to work Thursday and Friday in preparation to play against a very good Georgia Tech team in conference at 2 p.m. on Saturday.
Going back to the work in progress in the post, what are you seeing and what are you not seeing from that group right now?
I specifically, you know, not looking. Are you speaking in regards to our big guys?
Yeah, the rotation there.
Yeah, I'm looking at the team. I'm not specifically looking at one group or a couple of individuals. Like, for us to win games like this, whether it's Auburn or at Kansas or Michigan State, like us as a team, we have to play better and consistently better and not in spurts. And so, though that's the thing that I'm looking at and want to improve.
Last one out.
Hubert, what was the reason for Drake getting into the starting lineup, and then how will you evaluate his impact in that role?
Nothing more than we haven't played well in the first halves, and coming off the bench had been either 2 freshmen or 2 transfers, and I felt like Jay Witt has been really good for us, but bringing someone with experience, veteran leadership off the bench, I thought might help us a little bit in terms of the rotations. So it was something that I looked at tonight, but there was no more thinking other than that.
Last one, Adam. Thank you, Coach. Hubert, what do you make of it seems to be a recurring thing these last couple games where your guards are able to get into the paint, they're going to the cup, and they're running into a dude who's a foot taller than them. And, you know what I mean? They get caught in there where it's an incredibly tough shot, you're trying to get it all. Like, I mean, do you feel like you need to tell these guys to stop and shoot the floater more? Or are other teams sucking you in and, you know, allowing you to get there because they have the rim protection and you've got smaller guards that are trying to score over them? Like, what do you make of that thing? Because it seems to be another thing that's, you know, tripping you guys up on offense.
Yeah, I mean, our guys can shoot the floater. They can shoot that. That's a shot that they can make and that they can take. But I don't know the percentages. I'm not sure if we're making those either.
Yeah.
But I do know that we've done a really good job of drawing fouls and getting to the free throw line. And you're right, the last couple games it hasn't resulted in that. And we've got to do a better job of either taking that floater, being stronger, getting to the basket. I will say there was a number of times that we went in there and we moved the ball around a lot.
Yeah.
And when you do that, and I told them in the huddle a number of times, and I told them in preparation to the game, you will miss the shot and you will not get a foul call if you go into the lane and start moving it around. It's never worked. And so that has contributed to it as well. And, you know, we just got to go in there and dunk it. Go in there to the body and go in there to score as opposed to try to not get it blocked. And so I think it's a combination of things, but again, those are things that can be fixed, and we'll get better at that.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks,
Yeah.
everybody.
Thanks, guys.